Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Sakamoto Days, Season 1, Episode 15. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, we're immediately picking up where last episode left off, the fight between Sakamoto and Apart. Granted, we did get a little catch-up with Shishiba and Osaragi and Nagumo in the aftermath of their respective fights and stuff like that. Apparently, looking at the hit list, it turns out that apparently the inmates were supposed to fight each other. We're supposed to dispose of each other when this was all said and done. But Nagumo's like, yeah, but it seems like more so than anything, they were supposed to drag this out. So they served the purpose that they were supposed to, because once again, the long and short of it was like they were meant to be a distraction so that they can go after the JAA, slurring his people. But either way, picking up with the Sakamoto and a part of it all, we do learn more about a part. And you do feel a little sad because his whole reason for like, oh, I want to connect with people, because he's talking to Sakamoto. He's like, do you remember the first time you really connected where you didn't feel alone anymore? And so he couldn't really connect with people. Like, none of the kids would like talk to him or play with him. His mom wouldn't even speak to him, to the point he's like, I don't even remember what my mom sounded like. But he's like, my dad, he was busy with work, but he always made time for me. He made me feel not so alone and gave him this toy. And it just, it was supposed to be like his way to kind of like open up to people. It's like, yeah, you be kind to people and show them who you really are, then people will be your friends. But the problem is he tried to like speak to some kids and they called him a creep and they rejected him. And that deep-seated rejection kept going and going until it turned into this twisted complex of him feeling like, I don't understand people. So eventually it got to the point, the only way I'm going to understand anything is if I tear it apart. His psyche just couldn't handle like being rejected. He felt so alone and disconnected, like he didn't have a place in this world. And so he just starts sinking deeper and deeper. And obviously we see like the unhingedness of his psyche as he's tearing that toy apart more and more and more as it goes by. And we see like his mom is there, but we don't know what happened to his mom, why she kind of disconnected from him. Maybe she never really wanted him apart. Maybe she knew from the beginning he was a little off and the dad's the only one that didn't see it. But it kept getting worse and worse until he did the, typical sociopath / psychopath thing of, hey, I'm going to start pulling apart animals. So we saw that cat and I was like, please don't do it. And he proceeds to do it. And I guess the mom told the dad, and dad comes. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry, son. Don't worry. We're going to get you to a doctor immediately. But when they took him to a specialist, the doctor couldn't find anything. And the dad snaps because we're trying to say my son, there's nothing wrong with my son, that he was just born a monster. And hearing that, the one person he felt like, oh, understands me and loves me, is connected with me, it turns out, wait, I don't have a connection with you because you tell me like I'm creeping you out, like to stay away from you. In that moment, he snapped and killed his dad. And then he scans his dad's brain like, look, Dad, we're the same. You got the same brain as me, so we are connected. And from there, that's just been his thing of like, now when he kills people and tears them apart like that, he feels like he finally fully connects with them. But Sakamoto's like, you're not connecting with people. In fact, you're severing those connections the moment you kill people. And it's like, oh, how dare you like attack my way of living? And so he proceeds to like, partway through the fight, the tower gets cut and it's about to fall. And Sakamoto runs up, grabs the wiring, and tries to like hold on to it. And he's like using his weight to counterbalance the tower, which are like, that's crazy. He's like, oh, good thing I'm heavy. It's like, you're not that damn heavy, are you? But I mean, maybe it's a thing of you've got a lot more weight and muscle on you than we kind of really comprehend. And so I love that the people at the top of the tower, it's like Heisuke and other people. It's something I've talked about before. It's like, it seems like the people in this world of Sakamoto Days just seem like unhinged in the regards of like, not unhinged, but they just seem so blasé about things. People are like, oh my God, the tower, it seemed like it was falling. Oh man, it looks a little off now. Then you even see inside the tower, they're freaking out a little bit. But when things kind of stabilize, they're like, oh, should we head down now? Like, no one's freaking out or panicking. You even see when it was like tilting over, there's one kid behind Taro smiling and laughing like, yay, like it's a ride. Understandable on that front, but like people were kind of freaked out, but then immediate was like, I guess not. I guess everything's fine. Apart tries to go after Sakamoto to pull him apart this time, but the old man from the order steps in And I was like, yo, because I figured he would, because he's the only member we hadn't seen so far participate. So I was like, oh, he's probably, I said, like, my thought was Sakamoto was going to beat apart and then he'd step in and kill apart. But nope. He came in and slashed the other part of the tower and then immediately left because the tower was so imbalanced. Now that he basically adjusted the balance by cutting this part of the tower, it kind of evens out, even as crooked as it is. So Sakamoto doesn't have to worry about holding on anymore, and he gets to fight up and focus on fighting apart. But I think it's interesting the old man just walked away after that, because what was it? Hoy like immediately killed Saul, like despite. But I mean, to be fair, like Shin and Zhao Tang were like tanked after that fight, so I guess that's why. But it's like, and Otsuragi's the one that fought. Otsuragi and Nagamo ended up fighting Dump and Minimalist respectively. So there was no one from the Sakamoto squad there to kind of be kind of like that stopping it. Even the Hoy situation, he had got Saul had gotten away. So I guess that's the justification for it. Because I'm wondering, like, if anyone else from the Sakamoto team was there, would the old man have stepped in? Or he's like, no, Taro's here, so I won't. I'll leave it to him. I'll help out a little bit, but like, I trust Sakamoto to finish this. But if it was anyone else from just Team Sakamoto there, then maybe he would have stepped in. But it's like, nah, I'm not going to start beef with Sakamoto. I'm going to let him handle things his way. But either way, I also love that he has no dialogue. The old man was just like grumbling when he got. He's like, "Oh, did you finish your bathroom?" And he just gets in the taxi. I'm like, is that his whole shtick? Does he actually not talk? Does he just grumble like old man grumbling? I don't know. Maybe it's just in this instance. But whatever the case may be, Sakamoto's like, "Cool, I'm gonna hit him apart with my full weight," and starts beating the ever living piss out of apart, and it's like a pretty one-sided bout at this point in time, the way he's just knocking him about, especially that final bit of the fight where apart tries to use his wires, and like, I forgot what Sakamoto did to him, like knocked him out and he was falling, like I think he like punched him or whatever the case may be. He's falling and he grabs the wires and he's just like, you have a choice going forward about how you want to live your life. So he's like, I'm not going to let go of these wires. Meaning I'm not going to let you just die. I'm not going to kill you, but I am going to knock you out. Proceeds to fling him up, swing him around rapidly, and then like just basically wrapped him around the tower multiple times until he slammed a steel part of the tower. And then he jumps down, stamps that kid's little travel guide thing and says, "Mission complete," and then drags a part away. And that's that. But yeah, he takes him back to Mia's place. I don't know if she gave him any treatment or just treated Sakamoto. But a part wakes up. He's like, wait, what's going on? What's up with this place? And they talk to him. He's like, oh, you guys aren't going to kill me? They're like, no. He's like, what are you going to use me for? It's like, we're not going to use you. We actually just want to ask if you can help us. Even Hesuke's like, oh, I could give you this Mikan if you like end up helping us. How's that sound for an exchange? But they're like, yeah, we just want information about your employer. They're like, you're actually lucky to be alive because like that's only because of Sakamoto. And I even love Shin bigging Sakamoto up, being like, yo, if he hadn't held back, you'd be dead right now. And then you're seeing Sakamoto there with extraordinary speed peeling an orange and then just gulping it down. Well, those might be Nikons as well. I guess they're just a different like variation of oranges, or very specific type of oranges maybe. Either way, there was also this interesting newspaper Mia was reading. They made a point to kind of focus on too, where it's like there's like a unsolved case from like 18 years ago, and I wonder if that might, just considering that scene, how that plays out in correlation with the Slur scene, makes me feel like, oh, maybe there's something there. Like maybe Slur has something, like maybe he's the child related to that situation all those years ago or something. I don't know. But apart, I think for the first time, he realizes like he's a bit of a weirdo, an oddball himself, but he's surrounded by a whole bunch of other weirdos and oddballs. So it's kind of interesting pairing, which I'm like, I'm curious what the future for him is going to be. I mean, the rest of the inmates are sadly dead, but like amongst them, at least like Dump had like got something out of her situation, just like Apart did before she died. Like Asaragi and her connected, like, oh, like I love you, and in her own twisted way, that's kind of what she was looking for. Once again, like the ones we just kind of like toss away is like Saul and Minimalist, because we got next to nothing about him. It's only Dump and Apart we actually got their backstories at all, in any form of backstory. So I think that's interesting. So I don't know if they just like send him back to prison or what. I mean, it's not like their innocence either. I mean, Sakamoto and Shin were hitmen and they're just kind of living regular lives. Like Zhao Tang was a part of a mafia, but I mean, how many lives she actually really took is in question too. So it's like I don't know, because they were like, no, we're not trying to like penalize you or whatever. But it's like Sakamoto was like, if you did try and fight us again, I swear I would like throw you into the sky tower again. We could do that again if you decided you wanted to fight. But he ends up relenting and giving the information about, okay, dear dude was kind of our point of contact, and I overheard his conversation with Slur. I don't know who Slur is, but overheard their conversation because I left like a wire or string behind to overhear their conversation about them going after the JAA organization. And so we then proceed to get a little world building and explain like the size of the JAA. It's like there's 1,000 members in general, but only 400 of them or so, less so because some have been getting bumped off, obviously, by the inmates. But basically, and Slur had already started killing some of them regardless too, so the number's definitely lower. But it was like 400 hitmen, but the rest of the people like fill different roles where it's like, because they build new technology and weapons for the organization, there's people who also act as operators. It's just different people filling different functions. Obviously, serving functions outside of just being the main hitman out in the field in different capacities. But apparently, the base that Gaku and Slur is outside of was at the Kanto branch. It's not the main headquarters, but I guess it's a pretty big branched headquarters. I guess it's like slowly but surely, like we hit like these different branches to it before we work our way up to the main headquarters, or we need to like probably cripple the system first and foremost before we really kind of go. It's almost like attack the body before you go for the head type of thing, maybe. But we also find out in that moment that Slur used to be a member of the JAA, because Gaku's like, oh, do you still have your old Hitman license? He was like, nah, I don't. They took a photo of it that I didn't really like, so I threw it away. And Gaku's like, I get that. I think that was more so like a DMV conversation on his side of things. Like, oh, I hate when a bad photo of me's taken, so I get that. And they proceed to kill that officer who was outside, who's kind of like an outside guard for the JAA. Literally one punch ended up like blowing up, like making part of his body disappear into nothingness. I wonder what's the deal with the weapon on his back, because it kind of reminds me of like Kasame from because it's wrapped up. When the Zabuza sword wrapped up too? Probably not. It's been so long since the Zabuza stuff that I don't remember, but definitely remember Kasame from Naruto having his weapon blocked. I mean, obviously it was like but like his like cuts off at the bottom. It looks like it's mainly the handle and then a little bit of it. So I'm wondering, is it like does he summon the rest of the weapon? I think we see glimpses of it in the opening, but I didn't pay as much attention. I'll try to pay attention more next episode, maybe, if I remember to. Man, my god awful memory. But whatever the case may be, he's obviously plenty strong without having to use it. But obviously, like, we learned from Reindeer Dude that Slur believes himself to be some like noble warrior of justice. So I'm wondering, since he used to be part of the JAA, I'm wondering, did he discover something that made him kind of question that whole operation? Kind of, maybe he took like a different side of things compared to Sakamoto, who just quit. It's like, right, I don't want to be a part of this world anymore. Maybe he had already had his reservations, and meeting Aoi just like tipped him over the edge. Or maybe it seems like just from the get-go, it seems like it was purely Aoi, but maybe there were other reasons why he wanted to bow out besides just for Aoi's sake. We'll have to wait to see. But I was wondering if it's like Slur became jaded by the whole system and was like kind of saw it more as evil, because maybe he saw like we aren't doing good. Like maybe he justified it as like we're killing bad people, but then saw like how the system gets used, because they don't judge. It's like you're hired to kill someone. It doesn't matter, good, bad, whatever the situation may be, you do it. And maybe that's what Slur kind of had an issue with the organization in that capacity, or maybe there's something else. Like I said, maybe whatever that case is from like 18 years ago that's still unsolved, like maybe there's some correlation there with Slur, and he knows the JAA had something to do with that, and he might have been like the child or related to someone in that capacity. Like he found out the JAA wronged him. I mean, because it had to be recent for him to be like, yo, I mean, we don't know how old, kind of don't really know how old really anyone is. But like, for Slur to have at least at some point been a part of the JAA and not anymore. It's interesting because if he used to be part of the JAA, why doesn't anyone like know who he is? Like, why is his? I guess because no one's seen his face. I mean, Shin came close to it like during the first part when we're diving into his past, but I guess no one's seen anyone who's seen his face hasn't lived to tell the tale, so no one can piece it together. You know who he is. So I guess that kind of makes sense. You know, I mean, there's also the good chance he deleted all of his like records and history. So even if you could, like, you couldn't track down his identity in that capacity. But yeah, I thought about it. It's like none of our characters have, well, once again, with the exception of Shin for that small period of time, no one's had a direct face to face with Slur that isn't like someone that's a part of his squad or team. You know, so that's probably a part of why no one's identified him yet. But the moment like maybe Sakamoto meets him, which because it seems like him and Sakamoto have history. Because I had insinuated like why he got the whole X thing going on. It's because maybe Sakamoto is the only person to ever leave a scar on him or something like that. I don't know. I forgot what made me think that. I think it was something in part one that made me think. I think he made reference to like Sakamoto being the only one that's ever done something, and I think it was in relation to that, but I could be mistaken. Either way, I'm very, very interested to see ultimately where the next episode takes us with this, because Sakamoto says, like, he's talking to Shin, is like, oh, what we're going to do next is we're going to go to the JAA. Now, whether they're going to that same branch or whether they end up going to a different location, that's a question in itself, because probably not the best time to run into Slur and Gaku, but we'll see, because everything could be already done. Like, they could have slaughtered everyone in the building by the time Sakamoto and them get there, so... But really, that's all I want to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.